sauerkraut fermentation. All right. So have you heard the term sauerkraut? Yes or
No,
no?
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the spelling of sauerkraut is Sauerkraut. Okay. So sauerkraut fermentation. Alright. Now sauerkraut is a pickle which is made from cabbage, fermenting cabbage. Okay. So first we are going to look into its history and then we will move on to the fermentation. Okay. Traditionally, clay pots were used. Okay. Nowadays, we have steel vessels or glass vessels that are used. Okay. So how is it done? So the ingredients here are cabbage. Okay. So what do? It's just only cabbage. So we take a pot, we pack cabbage into it. Cabbage को cut करो and उसके अंदर डालो. Then you have to cover the lid with a cloth. So you are not actually putting any kind of lid. You are using a cloth to cover the mouth, and on that cloth you have to put some weight. Okay, so for example, अगर ये तुम्हारा कंटेनर है, okay, so this is my cabbage. All right, the lid I am closing it with cloth, and on this I will put a heavy stone. Okay, such that because of the pressure of this stone, the cabbage will start to get crushed and the juice from the cabbage will ooze out. Okay. So what happens is, after some time, I remove this stone, I add some brine to it. Okay, brine matlab another ingredient is my brine water, which means it is nothing but salt water
Salty.
or salt solution. Okay, so cabbage plus salt solution, cover it with the cloth, put a heavy rock or heavy lid or something onto the cloth such that because of its pressure, the cabbage leaves will then get submerged in the brine solution. Okay. If any mold happens to get on the top of the brine, it wouldn't reach past the rocks and cloth, and the cabbage would remain safe for consumption. So what is happening? Because of this pressure, ये जो cloth है वो अंदर की तरफ bend होगा, cloth के ऊपर भी थोड़ा सा brine solution आएगा. अगर molds यहाँ पर इस surface पर कहीं grow होते हैं तो वो salt solution की वजह से अंदर नहीं जा पाएंगे, and the cabbage will remain proper for consumption. Mainly German and Polish people use this sauerkraut as a side dish. Okay. Sometimes what German and Polish people did was they left what we call as a they did this fermentation in what we call as a moat. Okay. So what is a moat? Any idea? M-O-A-T, moat. मोट मतलब ये जो कैनाल है ना, इस टाइप का मोट. ओके. So what did they do? They modified the design of the container basically. So again, let us draw properly. I hope to draw properly. So if this is my container, okay, there was a moat around the neck. मतलब क्या, एक कनाल टाइप्स, और फिर उसके ऊपर लिड। तो उस कनाल में जो है वो सादा पानी भर के रख सकते थे. All right, and after that, on top of it, you put your lid. So what will happen? Some oxygen will remain inside the moat and the container, and plus no ants or any molds would enter it. Okay. This method ensures that air flows only through one-way system. That is, the air could be pushed out through the water, but none of it could come in, thereby keeping the sauerkraut perfectly healthy. Okay. Now, why the question arises, why are we looking at this fermentation, right? So we are looking at fermentation as the science where certain values or certain chemical changes take place in the food, making it more healthier as compared to the earlier version. Okay. So how do I define this fermentation process? Fermentation is defined as a biochemical change is brought about by anaerobes or partial anaerobes or by partially anaerobic of carbohydrates oxidation of carbohydrates, either by microorganisms or by enzymes which are there within that food, either by microbes or by enzymes. And in doing so, the property of that food changes. Okay. In case of sauerkraut fermentation, this is accompanied by labs, LAB, which is lactic acid bacteria. Okay. Primarily, the genus being lactobacilli. Okay. Here in this case, lacto is not referring to the lactose found in dairy, but the lacto here is the lactic acid that is produced by the breakdown of sugars by these lactobacilli. So what will happen? Lactic acid formation will prevent the growth of harmful bacteria because it reduces the pH, creating acidic conditions, which means most of the organisms would not grow there. Okay. Now, as we have already closed the lid, the oxygen limiting conditions will start to generate, and eventually anaerobic organisms or microaerophilic organisms will start to grow. These again include lactobacilli and another organism by the name of muconostoc. Okay, so lactobacilli and muconostoc both are vital for sauerkraut fermentations. Okay, though the crock prevents most oxygen from entering, still some amount of oxygen will enter or will be present during the process. So therefore microaerophils will do the job. Okay. In industry, nowadays what people do for sauerkraut preparation is they add lactic acid bacteria and leuconostoc in fixed amount so that batch after batch after batch, the taste, the texture and everything of that sauerkraut remains same. So what is the procedure? Is this for preparation of sauerkraut. Ingredients: chopped cabbage and brine solution. Okay, so take a container, add chopped cabbage to it, add brine solution to it. At home level, cover it with a cloth. उसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा बड़ा पत्थर या ऐसे कुछ रखो, वजन रखो, so that the cabbage will get crushed, and you have to keep it in open for a very long period of time, around 2 to 3 months. So what will happen? Eventually, leuconostoc and lactobacilli will grow. They will change the pH to acidic. As a result of the acid formation, the fermentation, or as a result of lactic acid bacteria and leuconostoc, fermentation will take place. The carbohydrates present in the cabbage will be broken down, and what you will have is called as sauerkraut. Okay, sour means khatta and kraut is for cabbage. All right. The longer you allow it to ferment, the tangier it will taste. मतलब जितना ज्यादा देर तक रखोगे उतना ज्यादा खट्टा होता जाएगा. Okay. So there are 3 stages of sauerkraut fermentation. First, gluconostoc, mesenteroids, will produce carbon dioxide, replacing the oxygen of the jar, creating an anaerobic environment. And when the lactic acid reaches between 0.25 0.3%, gluconostoc will slowly die off. Okay, this stage will last up to 1 to 3 days depending upon the temperature which is outside. Okay, so what is happening? First, when you pack everything, leuconostoc mesenteroids grow. They convert all the oxygen into carbon dioxide, make lactic acid, and when the lactic acid level reaches 0.3%, they die because they cannot tolerate the acidic conditions. Okay. Now, इस stage तक आने के लिए 3 दिन लगते हैं. The next stage is where your Lactobacillus plantarum and Lactobacillus cucumerens grows. Okay, so Lactobacillus plantarum and Lactobacillus cucumeris. So these are the 2 organisms that will now grow happily in lactic acid concentration of 0.3%. So they will grow in these anaerobic conditions happily till lactic acid level is between 1.5 to 2%. Okay. High salt and low temperature inhibits these bacteria. So don't oversalt your sauerkraut. Okay. Otherwise, fermentation ठीक से नहीं होगा. Plus, we have to remember that we are never ever supposed to refrigerate the sauerkraut. So वो पूरा fermentation होने से पहले उसको फ्रिज में नहीं रखना है, उसको बाहर ही रखना है. And the ideal temperature should be around 18 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius. Now this stage, that is changing 0.3% lactic acid concentration to 2% lactic acid concentration, will take anywhere between 10 to 30 days. मतलब 1 महीना उसको रखना है, इस स्टेज तक पहुंचने के लिए लगेगा. And finally, the third organism that grows is Lactobacillus brevis. Okay, which finishes off this fermentation. So what will happen at this stage after 30 days, the lactic acid concentration is around 2%. This Lactobacillus brevis will change it from 2% to 2.5%. Okay. And at this level, they reach their maximum growth and fermentation is over. So this stage will last for 1 week. All right. You will know your sauerkraut is ready for long-term storage or to eat when there are no more bubbles in the slide or top on the side or on the top of your jar. क्योंकि कोई respiration नहीं हो रहा है तो no carbon dioxide is produced, no oxygen is produced, so therefore no bubbling will be there, and you can safely say that yes, the fermentation is over. Okay, so all in all, to prepare a sauerkraut, you will require around 1.5 months. Okay, 3 दिन यहाँ, 1 महीना second stage और 1 week third stage. So basically 1 month and 10 days and your sauerkraut should be ready to eat. उसके बाद आप उसको फ्रिज में रख सकते हो. All right. Do you have any doubts? Please ask. TY?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Now there are lots of benefits for this fermentation. ये क्यों करना है? So what are the benefits of this fermentation? So one of the major benefit is the increase in shelf life. Okay. The cabbage as per se can be stored for around 1 week or 2 weeks after you pluck it off, right? But if you make the sauerkraut can be kept in fridge for over a year, and you can take it out and eat it as a pickle. Another important benefit is that your food is full of good bacteria, right? Lactobacillus are good bacteria, so they will make your gut healthy. All right. Plus, third thing that is happening here is this fermentation also increases the enzyme content of the food. So, increase in the enzyme content. Okay. So, since the enzymes have increased, what will happen? It is easier on your stomach and very easy to digest. Okay, normal food requires your body to produce specific enzymes, but lacto-fermented foods come with those enzymes, and therefore it is very easy for us to digest it. Plus, it is more tastier as compared to the normal cabbage, right? So that is why generally people make sauerkraut. Okay. Now this sauerkraut is specifically there for Germans. Okay, so specifically Germans make this. All right.